my fellow comic book collectors, it's Alan, the Comic Collector Geek, and this is going to be a really cool unboxing. It has a bit of a story behind it, so I got to get into the story. It's just one box, but it is a very cool box. You're gonna be impressed. So this was an interesting story because what happened was Big Big McFly, the comic book guy or comic guy, has a really great channel, and he does like what he calls the comic book shout out, and basically he promotes other channels, and which is really cool because it helps the community grow. Well, one of the channels, we were doing a live stream where we were talking about this shout out, and one of the channels that joined us was Lunch Money Comics, Mike from Lunch Money Comics, and he basically, he was talking about some auctions that he had won, and he got some Golden Age books. And I was like, oh, I know those books. And so I was like giving him a little bit of information about the books that he had gotten, that he didn't know, because it's a little hard to find out information about Golden Age unless you're experienced in it. So I was giving him some information. He was impressed, I think. And he decided to reach out to me afterwards, after the live stream. And we actually did an interview together, and he mentioned me on his channel, which was very nice of him. And we had a pretty, it was a good start of a friendship. And he said that whenever he would find Golden Age books, that he would reach out to me. So I was like, oh, cool. First dibs kind of on cool Golden Age books. So he did so. He actually heard that there was an estate sale where they had books from the late 40s. And he reached out to me and he said, hey, I picked up all these books. I don't know how much they're worth. He kind of did look up some of them, and he had sort of an approximate idea of some of them though. But he needed my advice on what they're truly worth. So I was trying to be pretty reasonable about my estimations of the values. Like, it's really hard to say for 100% certainty on some of these books, because some of them like only have a census count of 3. That's it. And the sales history is usually pretty limited. And it doesn't mean that the books are necessarily super rare. It's just that a lot of them are ungraded. Most of the time when you experience these books, they're in the raw. So I looked through them. I knew a lot. I knew all the titles. I was very familiar with all of them. And I gave him my estimation of based on Go Collect and GPA analysis, and also eBay sales, and heritage sales, what I thought the books would be worth, fair market value. And I said, some of them were worth maybe $50. Some of them worth more than a couple $100. And there was one book that I told him he should keep, and, sell to somebody else because I already had it, that was worth maybe $200-300. So I tried to, kind of help him out as much as I could. And there was a bunch of books that I really wanted from this collection that he picked up. And he picked them up. I think he told me he paid $200 altogether. So he is going to be up on this one because, as I said, one of the books that I kind of highlighted was already a $300 book. So that one book alone pays for everything else. So he did really, really well. He picked up some great books. But I wanted to get the Good Girl art books from him. And so that's what this is. This is the Good Girl art ones. I think it's 7 books altogether, or 6-7 books. You can see he ships them really well. He floated them into, this kind of thing. And, obviously he is a good dealer because he sends them really safely. Okay, so he even put a little note inside. He said, Alan, thank you so much. I hope you enjoy these. Mike from Lunch Money Comics. So that's pretty cool. So, let's see if I can get these out. So it was a bit of a funny story because So he agreed on $550 for the total, and I was pricing them out at like 100 to, as there was one that was maybe worth $250. I was thinking, and so it's like, as I said, 6-7 books. So if you do the math, it works out to being about $900 worth of books, and he gave me a deal. I paid $500 for these plus shipping, so it's roughly $550 altogether to be shipped it to Canada. But the funny thing was, he he went to the post office, and he said, "Oh, is there going to be any customs on these?" And he's like, "Oh," the guy at the post office is like, "No, don't worry about it. There will be no customs." And then he told me that he sent them off, and I'm like, "Oh, you should have marked it as a gift. You gotta say the value's under $50, or you're gonna get dinged at customs, or I'm gonna get dinged at customs." So he felt really bad that he hadn't done that. But he did mark it as gift. It just, if it's over $50, if it's a gift to Canada, they will ding you with HST on which is the tax here for customs, and it's roughly it's around 7 to 10% of the value of the books. So and sometimes they'll ding you with another charge where they'll open it up and inspect it at customs, and they'll ding you another $50 just for that. So I was like, oh no, I'm gonna get killed at customs. Fortunately, I was not killed at customs, but there was a customs fee. It was $48 Canadian, so not too bad. I knew I was gonna get hit, but it was not too bad of a hit. We always get kind of screwed over by taxes in Canada. Okay, so the books that I got, and I'll show you them. There's some really great ones. They're Good Girl Art books. So we got Tess the Typist, number 6. And these are early books from Marvel. So these would be like Stan Lee would do the writing. And you get different artists like Dan DeCarlo. I'm not sure who did this cover, but you get like different artists that would do the covers that were kind of cool artists of the time. So this is Tess the Typist, number 6. So early Tess the Typist. And we got Tess the Typist, number 18. Doesn't it, these nice Good Girl art covers. This one's kind of fun. What does it say? Sorry, I'm so late, Tessie, but it's raining cats and dogs, and you see all the cats and dogs. That's really interesting. Okay, and then we got Nellie the Nurse. And this is like, there's actually a lot of these where what they'll do is they'll have the guy in it, and he's always winking at the reader. And what it says is, next time, I hope you'll remember to bring your own skis. And obviously, he didn't bring his own skis so that he could hold on to her. So, and he's winking at the audience to say, hey, look, I got to hold this cute girl. So that's Nellie the Nurse. And these were all titles from Marvel Comics. They had a bunch of these Good Girl art titles, like a whole bunch of them, like Nellie the Nurse, Tess the Typist, what were some of the other ones? Hetty Divine, just a whole bunch of cool titles with Good Girl art covers, or stories. Then we have Captain Midnight, which I thought was an interesting one. This is like an electrocution cover. I thought this was actually I'd never seen this one before, but this is a really cool one. Strangely, I looked it up and it wasn't really that expensive, but really it doesn't have much sales history, but just a really cool cover and not a bad grade. Yeah, reasonable grade. So this is Captain Midnight number 55. Nice electrocution cover. It's this weird monster getting electrocuted. And this one had some potential. I was like, oh, maybe it could be something cool. It's not the expensive ones, but it's the Texan. Now, the Texan is a really interesting series because it featured the artwork of 2 major artists. One is Bob Lubers, and the other is Matt Baker. Now, the early ones were done by Rob Lubers, and this is one of the earlier ones. So it's a Rob Lubers cover. You can see Bob Lubers cover. And I believe this is Texan number 2 or 3, something like that. So it just misses out. If it was a Matt Baker, it would be a very expensive comic, but it's still great Good Girl art cover. So this is the Texan. That's just a cool one. And the last comic that I got from him is the one that I liked the most. This was the big one. This is really, I bought all these other ones just to get this one book. I really wanted this one book because it is the first appearance of a character, and it's a really low census count. There was really very little information about this book. This is Hetty Divine, number 22. Now when you hear the number 22, you think, oh, maybe it's a mid issue. Well, it's actually the first issue of the series. It started out at issue number 22. Before it was called, let me just think of I'm trying to remember what the title was. But it was a previous title, and they renamed it Hetty Divine. And this just happens to be the first appearance of Hetty Divine. So it's a cool Golden Age first appearance of kind of not a major character, but just a cool Golden Age Good Girl art character. And to have her first appearance is kind of sweet. So I love these as as a comic collector. I think these are really great. I'm super excited to have this book. It's got a bit of rusted staples. I would say it's a low grade. I would say it's like a 2.5, maybe a 3.0 on a good day. But at least it presents really, really well, and that's the big thing. So yeah, just really great. It's really great to get all these books, and I just wanted to say a quick thank you to Lunch Money Comics, who sold me all these and trusted my opinion about their value and used my appraisal skills. I hope that he is able to sell the rest of the books and make even more money. I always like that win-win situation. And I really do appreciate these books. I'm super happy to get this deal. I mean, it was such a great deal. Really great guy. He was a pleasure to work with. Yeah, I'm just super excited to get these books. So again, thank you, Lunch Money Comics, Mike. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys have any questions, or if you guys want to check out his channel, go over to Lunch Money Comics. I will link to his channel in the description. And thanks again for watching. Bye for now.